Welcome to Brilliant Streams, BEER Appalachia, a time to taste some great examples of the brewer's art from breweries around the Appalachian region. We're coming to you from Charleston, West Virginia, in the heart of Appalachia. I'm Charles Bachway, and joining me for this tasting is Aaron McCoy, co-host of the West Virginia Beer Roads podcast. Aaron, I happened to meet with some Canarchy folks recently. I was visiting an Oskar Blues Brewery, and I was really pleased to hear of their interest, their continuing interest in our market and selling beer here.
Yeah, that's exciting. I enjoy their beer, so I'm excited for tonight's tasting and looking forward to checking some things out.
Yeah, and for people, if you don't know the name Canarchy, they're the company that now owns Oskar Blues, Cigar City, and several other American craft beer companies. And I've taken a special interest, though, in Oskar Blues because they have, for a number of years now, they built and operate a brewery in Brevard, North Carolina. And so when they opened that place up, they joined the family of Appalachian breweries, and was really happy to see that.
Absolutely. Have you been there?
Yeah, I have been there.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was down there once a few years back.
Nice.
But I just wanted to take some time now to catch up with their beers.
Well, let's stop talking and let's start tasting.
You're right. Let's do it.
Let's get into this. The first beer that we have in our glass is Mama's Little Yellow Pills. You can check out the can. It's a little different can design maybe than you've seen in the past, right, Charles? Mm-hmm. They've updated their can art, which I like a lot. The brewer says that it's made with Pilsner and honey malts and a blend of Saaz and a newer Bavarian hop called Aramis. So this was the brewery's first canned lager, and it's been in the market since 2009, so it's been around for a while. It's 4.7% as far as ABV.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, this is very light, nice, light golden color, very clear, nice head.
Yes, very carbonated for sure.
So
it is very, very clear. Let's smell it.
I do smell some hops and some malt, but I couldn't tell you exactly what these hops are.
No, definitely not.
But now that you told me what they are, I already know that they're Saaz.
I get more malt.
Yeah.
For myself.
Maybe a little more malt. Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But yep. I like it. It's balanced well.
Right.
Let's see what we taste.
Oh, yeah, there's good bitterness. It balances that malt.
Tons of carbonation, too. It's like fizzy in your mouth.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It is nice. It's a clean mouthfeel as far as I'm concerned. Smooth.
Sure is.
Easy to drink for sure.
Yeah, it really is. It's a nice finish.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little bit of lingering malt, maybe some hops there, but it's just very light. It's crushable beer.
Absolutely, for sure.
4.7%, yeah.
This is more of a warm weather beer for me, but it's good.
I don't know. Beer drinkers love these kind of Pilsners anymore. That's like become a big thing, and they're year-round beers now. I mean, with craft brewers, this is a good example.
It is a really good example. It's a well-made Pilsner, very much so.
Crispy boys, I guess, is what you hear them called.
Yeah, crispy boy.
I think this one fits in that category.
I think it does too. I think so too.
And when I picked it up at Fruit Pharmacy today, and it was on their single can shelf, so I could just buy one can and try it out. But gosh, they had a lot of their beers there. It was fun to see that.
Absolutely. I love the single selections because I like to do a mixed 6-pack. It gives you a lot of variety. You can switch it up, and maybe you're not in the mood for 4 heavy beers. You want something lighter.
Yeah, that's right.
So
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and it was $1.39, I think. It's on the can here. Yeah, $1.39. Yeah. If you add that up, I think that comes out to like $8.35 or something for a 6-pack. That's a great price.
Very reasonable. Yeah, very great price.
Very good price.
Very little markup, I would assume, then from the retailer, but hey, very affordable Pilsner and delicious.
Well, Aaron, we're starting to get winter weather here in our part of Appalachia anyway.
That's right. It's coming up quick.
Yeah, and cooler weather calls for...
Imperial Stouts.
All right. Well, that's right. And our next beer is...
1050.
2021 1050. Yep. Comes out in the fall usually. I'm not sure it's still widely available this time of year here getting into December, but... it's a beer that's a big one, 10.5%. Of course, that's the 1050, where 1050 comes from, and I think it's pretty widely available. Though it's a standard beer they've had out for quite a few years.
I generally see it when seasonal weather starts to kind of come in. That's definitely when you see this more up front and in your face as far as when you're going to purchase beer.
Well, let's give it a try here.
Well, that's definitely smells wonderful.
It is very dark in color. It's a
very dark.
It's a dark brown, I'd call that, with a little bit of a tan, very tan, kind of a dark tan head, really.
Mm-hmm. Not much of a head, but there's definitely some carbonation
there's
there.
Some carbonation.
Smells great.
Yeah, man, you get a lot of chocolatey.
Lots of chocolate. Some roastiness.
Mm-hmm. And you should, yeah, I think so.
It's sweet. I get definitely some sweet.
Sweet aroma.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness. That is a strong beer. It's really smooth though. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very smooth. It's
Well, yeah. Good mouthfeel. Lots of that roasted malt and the chocolatey, maybe a little coffee, I'm not sure, but caramel, stuff of that nature. It's a blend really of...
I think it actually smells sweeter than it tastes to me.
Yeah, it's not so sweet. It's got quite a bit of bitterness in it.
It does. It's bitter and roasty.
Yeah, roasty and bitter. Mm-hmm. But that's good. I mean, it's like it really balances out all the malt that's in here.
It definitely does.
The bitterness.
It's not an overly malted drink for sure.
No, it's nice. So let me read what Oskar Blues folks say about this beer. This titanic, immensely viscous stout is loaded with inimitable flavors of chocolate-covered caramel and coffee, and it hides a hefty 65 IBUs underneath a blanket of smooth malt. 1050 is made with enormous amounts of two-row chocolate malt, roasted barley, flaked oats, and hops.
Jeez.
Oh my, that's kind of an over-the-top.
All kinds of words in that. No wonder you had to read it. I couldn't remember that to save my life. Big words, fancy words, but it's described fairly well. And there's also a barrel-aged 1050, right?
There is a barrel-aged version. It comes out, I think, a little later than the regular 1050, so it's probably out now around the markets. It's been out for a little while, I think. But yeah, the barrel-aged one, it's been in a whiskey barrel, and I think it gets about 12.5%, where this one's 10.5.
10.5, so it's a little bigger. I like barrel-aged things, and I think it's great to just have a bit more special of an imperial stout. It certainly adds a lot of flavor, for sure.
Yeah. All right. And before we get out of here, I want to mention that the Oskar Blues folks provided us the can of 1050 for us to sample, and also a can of this next beer that we're now going to be tasting. And this last beer today is one that's called BA21 Volume 7. Yeah.
Bam!
BA21 Volume 7.
Yes.
It's 11.5% ABV Imperial Stout, I'll tell you. So we're going to kind of compare this to... Now, that's a flavored beer. We'll get into that in a minute, because I think we'll talk about... Let's just, before I say all the flavors, let's just try to see what we find in it.
All right. Okay? Certainly dark. Very, very, very dark.
Man.
It doesn't have any of that tan that we have in the 1050.
I think it's darker. Right.
Much darker.
Seems thicker and darker. And a lot less carbed.
Ooh.
Less carbonation.
Smell that. Oh, yeah.
Woo.
You definitely get whiskey flavored right there. Smells for sure.
Well, I'm going to guess then that BA must mean barrel aged.
Barrel aged.
Yeah, that's the short for that, I would assume.
This is very sweet.
It is a sweet, and that
Very, very, very sweet.
Yeah, I think
Like a sweet stout.
Yeah, the literature on it says it's sweet. So yeah.
Imperial sweet stout.
Yeah, it's a sweet stout, and it is sweet.
And it's aged in whiskey barrels.
Well, there you go. And they usually don't tell you a lot of times from bigger breweries what kind of whiskey barrels, and may not even be all one kind. It could be different brands, because you got to imagine they're going to make a lot of beer, and they need a lot of barrels. Yeah, to put this in.
It's very, very smooth. It's thick though, certainly filling, heavy.
Yeah, it's got a big body. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very big body.
But yeah, very low carb.
But you know what though? It's low carb in the glass, but when I taste it, there's definitely some carbonation a little bit there. But you don't notice it until you go to swallow.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. Well, what they say about this beer, and it's a different one. Apparently, each volume is flavored differently.
Okay.
So they take this base Imperial Stout. They flavor this one with graham crackers, chocolate, and cherry juice.
Ooh, that's that taste that I'm like, what is that? And that can be strange among, I'm sure, other beer drinkers, craft beer drinkers, when it comes to cherry. I'm sometimes a bit gun shy because I'm afraid it's going to be cough syrup and I don't like that. So I like cherry, but just a touch, like not so much to where it's overpowering. And it is blended well enough. Couldn't have guessed, that's cherry right off the bat.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, there's some fruitiness, but I wouldn't have been able to really identify cherry.
That's how I like cherry in a beer, just enough. Mm-hmm. So they did that really well.
Yeah. I don't know if our West Virginia distributors, I'm not sure if any of them have ever ordered this beer. I mean, this is Volume 7. They started making this beer in 2020 with Volume 1. So this is now, every few months they've come out with a new one. And I haven't seen it in our market, but I'm sure it's around the Appalachian region in other states. Mm-hmm. It may not be in West Virginia. We're not sure. I've been trying to get a hold of a distributor to find out, but that's all right. No luck yet. But I mean, what do you think? I mean, should they order this beer?
I think they should definitely order this beer, and especially, people that go out and look for cans and look for releases. Yeah. This is a special series, and as you said earlier, I believe everyone's flavored a bit differently, which is super cool. And, with any barrel aged or stout in general, I mean, you could age it a bit yourself. Like you don't have to drink it right away, pick some up.
Right. Yeah, I think this beer in a can and keep it in the refrigerator, I mean, it would last in this condition probably a good while.
Oh, yeah. I would say so.
Yeah, you could save this one for a while.
And it would maybe mellow out a bit where I definitely get a lot of whiskey. Not that I'm complaining.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of whiskey, so it may be better to sit for a bit before you taste it.
Yeah, could be. I mean, it might, that's right. Some of these could improve with age. I know people keep the 10 Fiddies and try different years of them, because each year you have a slightly different. Of course, as it ages, then it tastes a little different.
It does. Yeah. But that's the fun part of it too. I tend to, when I age something, I typically age a bottle and then immediately drink a bottle, so I can compare it then whenever I bring it back out.
Right.
After it's aged somewhat, which I like to do. So.
Well, when I met with the Canarchy folks, I told them we'd love to see more of their brewery representatives here in our market in West Virginia. I mean, we used to see some of them more than we do now, and we worked with them, our Craze group and all here, Craze Army was out there working with them on their bar promotions and stuff. We just haven't seen any of that for a while. So, I mean, they've got good beers. I mean, the ones we've had today, let's get back in this market. I wish they would, do a little more commitment to selling here. I mean, the distributors maybe even need to order a little more of that beer too, like some more of the variety stuff. Because
get the special release for sure.
BA21.
I think everybody would be excited.
I would imagine, although I haven't heard. I mean, there's probably going to be BA22.
Oh, I'm sure.
Next year, coming right up. So
and then again, more varieties in BA22 throughout the year, right?
Yeah, if it holds. And they're happy with it. And I'm guessing they are. They wouldn't have offered us this sample. I imagine they're trying to keep this little series going. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In Charleston market here in West Virginia, We get a lot of Dale's Pale Ale. I've seen Old Chub Scotch Ale, the 1Y 100-calorie hazy session IPA.
Which just makes me laugh every time I hear it.
Yeah, 1Y. I mean, I guess it means something. I don't know what. But yeah, it's a lighter, very light 100-calorie type. And we've seen other breweries come out with those.
Sure.
But there's probably a couple more I'm not even thinking of right now that'll be in the market, certainly seasonally, if not all year round. Yeah.
Well, I'd say today was a tasting success, Charles. How about you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we've had a great time with these Oskar Blues beers. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Beers of Appalachia, and we're going to be back later with more tasting and more beers. And to be sure that you don't miss some of these tastings, why don't you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that way you'll get a notice whenever these new beer tasting events are scheduled.
Tune in.
Cheers.
Cheers.